Says we're streaming.
Yes, we are set back on. Don't know what happened. Always some technical issues that can occur, but we bounce right back. They're not going to kick us off long, huh? We are back on. We're going to continue where we left off. If you're just now tuning in, we have a father and son, Michael D. Johnson, Michael J. Johnson. Both of them are in fantastic financial careers with MDJ Financial Services. And we were having a conversation. We're going to see if we can continue it and the system not kick us off again, huh? We were talking
Right.
about the father-son legacy, and we were talking about what motivates you. I think that's where we left off. What motivates you personally, and whoever wants to continue with that can, because I think that's a pretty good thing, place to start.
MJ, I'll let you start.
Well, I think what motivates me is leaving an impact in people's lives, but seeing the disparities within this industry, I think just being an example to the next generation coming up is ultimately impactful. To see folks of minority background to be able to step into whether it be this field or any other field and go against the odds and make something of themselves and be of an inspiration to the next generation, I think is powerful. My wife is a good example of that. She herself, she's part Mexican, so being a Hispanic in the medical field, leading as a medical provider is not much representation there. And so we have these discussions all the time about what legacy you want to leave, what impact you want to make, and who can you bring along with you. So I think that kind of leads into one of your next points that you have, which I'll save for a little bit later, but just leaving, that legacy and motivating the next generation to come up to do better, to have more opportunities than we have, and to leave no stone unturned. So I think that's what motivates me in what I do, as well as just educating people on this. I realize working with a lot of first generation and some second generation folks stepping into substantial wealth in this country, there's a lot of education that needs to be taking place. Just a lot that most folks do not know as far as legacy, a lot of things that we have to break in order to move past certain barriers and move in the right direction, I think is powerful. So those things motivate me in just talking with folks and how they can not just leave a lasting impact in their families' lives, but those around them within their social circles as well.
Mm-hmm. Very good. MD?
My motivation initially was just to provide for my family.
Mm-hmm. That's
It
good
was
enough
such
right
a,
there, isn't it?
yeah, right there. To being honest, it was so challenging getting started within this business, making a living, and I enjoyed it so much. I just, my fervent prayer was that, Lord, if I could just survive the 5 years they said it would take initially getting started, because I love what I did. But the first years were very, very, very difficult. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not having a client base, being the first to come in to this field, not really having a lot of role models. Uh, but I love sharing the information that I learned about investing, insurance, financial planning, planning for your future. And now some of the clients that I started with are retiring and or have retired, and I see them reaping the benefits of investing and saving early. Just brings joy to my heart. And now spreading that information to the next
That's
generation
right.
and
That's
beyond.
leading right into my next
Uh,
questions. Continue.
yeah, in addition to having MJ work with me, I have two mentees that I'm mentoring. One here locally and one in another, an African American female, into the business, sharing with them some of the best practices with this and what we have to do, because part of it is really getting the educational piece out. That's why I'm so glad that you provided this type of forum, because this didn't exist before. Forget the technology, just having seminars where African Americans and other people used to just talk about finances, because culturally, especially in the African American community, I don't know how it was in your household, but when it came to money, they send the kids out of the room. Like, this grown folks talk. You can't be here. Where other cultures that I, have had a chance to work with took the exact opposite approach. They talk to their children and grandchildren, nieces and nephews about investing and saving. And that's something that I wanted to be a part of with my firm. And that's one of the reasons why I, went away from corporate finance. My wife is working in corporate finance, but I wanted to do something individually with people and helping their personal plight and getting out that information. So.
Very important, and I certainly understand. And seeing African Americans in this field is certainly an encouragement to African Americans as a whole, to see from both different generations of people showing the importance of taking care of your finances. Certainly important there.
And
Yeah, sure.
one other thing that really grieved me, and I really wanted to get into this field, I was very active in athletics. I got recruited to play football and baseball at Wayne State and some other colleges. And I used to read about athletes and entertainers losing their fortunes after their career. And it's just like, why did that happen? Did they have bad representation? Of course, they didn't have it growing up, how to handle your business and things of that nature from a financial. So that's actually something I really want to get into with my son and my other mentors, to really educate people of color in those fields. That you may make millions, okay, but if you don't set it up properly, if you don't set up legacy and estate planning properly, then all will go for naught. And all you can have is just your accolades. And we've heard the stories about famous people, well-to-do people, being bankrupt after their career. That should never happen. Never, ever happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens time and time again. You are so right.
Yeah.
MJ, talk about how you impact or wish to impact or plan to impact the up and coming generation.
Well, one of the sayings that my father always uses is, when we talk about building a portfolio, we always tell folks, this is just ink and paper. It's what you do with it. And a lot of times people get wrapped up in the number that they see on the paper and lose sight of the experiences that it affords them to have. And so when we talk about impact and we talk about this industry, I like this business so much because you get to vision cast with your clients and understand their philosophy around things. A lot of what we do, I would, petition probably about 80 to 90% of what we do is focus on behavioral finances and people's thought process around money, around legacy, around giving. So many things around it is between the ears. And so it's been really good to just sit down and vision cast with people and talk about their goals, the visions that they have, so that they can look back on their lives when they reflect and say, you know what, I did everything that I could. And to be able to play a role in that makes a lasting impact, because it's more than just the numbers on the page. It's, hey, I've been able to accomplish this. I've been able to, help the kids or grandkids get through school, or, to take them on these trips or do these experiences or set up this, foundation to give back. And, so many things that we've been so fortunate and blessed to be a part of with our clients. That's a lasting legacy. And I think that, for me personally, that's what fires me up, is to see them see their goals come into realization and that we play a role in that. So I think impact is powerful. As it pertains to us, I think it's powerful to have ownership of a firm and for people to see that we can do things differently and operate in a different manner and serve people in a way that they haven't been served before. And to be able to have that ownership and, to do things in that manner and to educate folks along the way, I think is very powerful, and leaving that legacy and giving someone or a group of people that look like them, who can relate to them and understand the struggles and issues that they're going through, but yet still press on and accomplish the things that they seek out to accomplish.
Mhm. As you express that, who inspires you in African American history? And I'll ask both of you the question, whoever would like to begin. It could be one person or multiple. Think of.
Well, I'll start from a business perspective. I don't know if a lot of your listeners will remember a gentleman died unfortunately early in life, Reggie Lewis. Okay, Reggie Lewis was a part of a leveraged buyout with Beatrice Foods, and he wrote a book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? And it really changed the dynamics of African Americans in the investment field, in the leverage buyout field, and let us know that, hey, we can become players into that. And unfortunately, his life was cut too short and things of that. I mean, obviously, the civil rights leaders who got beaten, got dog sicked on them, couldn't eat at counters. I mean, just certain indignities. And this happened during my lifetime, okay, while I was here. And it's just kind of amazing, with the social justice things that we've had this past summer to go through, to see what they endured back then when I was a child, just to afford me this opportunity to be here, is, motivating enough to that. So there's several people that have overcome obstacles. My dad, my uncle, who came up from the South, part of the Southern migration to make a better life for their family up here in Michigan from, Alabama and Georgia. It really pushed me and motivated me to get my education, to let me know I could do more than just work for somebody. I can work for myself, and I can build a business that I can possibly, I didn't even really buy into the concept of bringing my children into the business. Sometimes I tease MJ because I think his sister, who is a registered nurse, would have been excellent in the business, but she decided to go the medical field. And I always thought she was the one that was going to come into the business. MJ was a very analytical, very smart, determined person, which are characteristics that you need in our business. But she was the social butterfly. She knew everybody. She was smart. And I said, if I can have an avenue for my children to come into the business, that would be great. But if they don't, I'm just glad that, they're in doing something that they're happy with.
Very good. MJ, who inspires you in African American history?
There's so many people to highlight, honestly. Two that
Better say his dad.
well
Yeah,
known. Well, that's a given.
No pressure, right?
I would say two that come off the bat that a lot of people are familiar with are Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lewis. To see what they've done through the civil rights movement, to be able to break barriers for a lot of people of color, to have their voices heard, and to step into positions, of authority and lead and even that playing field has really been impactful and monumental. I would say another person for me is Dr. Tony Evans, who leads the church out in Texas. To see what he's been able to do coming up through the civil rights movement and speak openly and very transparently on things, but not taking sides in one direction or the other, just calling it how it is. I really appreciate that. And then when we talk about impact, to see the impact that he's had on his family, as well, from Anthony Evans, who's a very popular gospel singer, to Parissa Schreier, who's wrote many of books and women's studies, to even his son, Jonathan Evans, who does some teaching and motivational speaking, doing men's conferences all across the world. To see that example of legacy is really powerful. And, somebody who I look to as a role model as far as, leaving an impact. I talked about the impact that our clients can make on us and or how they have it on our lives. And for us to be able to make an impact in this world beyond, the scope of just our business, there are many things that we can do. My wife and I have been very entrenched within our church's high school ministry and helping out in that realm. And one of the things that we're doing going into this year is officially starting our foundation of reaching back and helping minority students, particularly within the middle school and high school age brackets, to have an opportunity to go to college or go to a trade school. And so a goal of ours to be able to distribute out 1 to 2 scholarships a year. And we're very excited about that opportunity. We've had opportunities to speak with numerous groups, one of which notably is Detroit Youth Choir. We've done a few meetings like this and even in person with them. So to be able to work with Anthony White and the DYC children down there has been extremely impactful for us personally, but then also for us to leave a legacy to them, for them to see another way, to see people of color succeeding in this world and wanting to give back to them, willingly giving of our time and our resources and knowledge to reach back and afford them the opportunities that may not have been there, had not somebody reached back. We've all been blessed to have somebody look after us, whether they look like us or didn't. And so we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't reach back and give back to those that look up to us.
And everything you said is exactly the definition of trailblazer. As you progress
Absolutely.
and succeed, you pave the way for others, and that's what your vision is ongoing. And that's very important. I'd like you to, if you can, and you already have, I think you've been impactful overall, but speak directly to a young person or someone that you are paving the way for. Give a brief, 30 seconds, 1 minute of what you can say to them. After you get done with that, we're going to have a little fun Q&A. But I'd like either of you. Let's start with the dad. Dad, say it.
Paying it forward. I think MJ hit it on the head. Some of the people who influenced my life in terms of getting into this field, who encouraged me to get licensed, giving them best practices to being successful is one of the things that I want to do, especially with young people and people who may have thought that this field is too daunting for them, and let them know, hey, one generation from the projects, if I could be successful, and I always tell people, success is relative. It's what you make it, So don't let anybody else define what you think is success. So paying it forward to the next generation, reaching out, and just kind of inspiring somebody to be successful.
Okay. MJ?
I would say understanding what legacy you want to leave. Whether you work in this industry or you work in medicine, you work in media, whatever it is, these careers that we're fortunate to have, they're vehicles. They're tools to allow us to do those things. So how can you best leverage your resources, your tools, your career to reach back and to be able to leave a strong, powerful legacy? Because at the end of the day, when you look at things, again, it's the numbers on the page, they don't mean much if you don't leave much of a legacy. It's not much impact within that. So what legacy do you want to leave behind where, if people were to show up to your passing, what would people say about the impact that you've made in their lives? So that's a big thing for me, reaching back to the next generation is understanding what legacy do you want to leave? What do you want to be remembered for mostly?
Very good. I enjoyed you. Now we're going to lighten things up a little bit of this or that. So get ready, okay? Okay, so this or that, you choose one or the other. If you'd like to add a little bit to it, you can. Steak dinner or veggie stir fry? Dad, this one?
Steak.
MJ,
Steak dinner.
texting or talking on the phone?
Talking.
MJ,
Sexy.
summer or winter?
Oh,
Summer.
summer.
Hands down.
Night at the movies or TV at home?
Depends on what's showing.
Yeah, that's a toss-up.
You gotta pick one.
Since I have nice video things at home, probably at home. But usually going out means that we went out to dinner and then a movie.
Oh,
So,
got it. Okay. MJ,
I'd probably say the same. Yeah.
Okay. Football or
Yeah.
basketball?
Basketball.
I'm a football guy. I love basketball, but I'm a football guy.
Okay. SUV or sports car?
SUV.
Can I say both?
Nope.
I have both.
Oh, you have, of course.
You know, it's like,
That career is not for naught.
is this for fun or practical?
Fun.
Sports car.
Okay. Should I say what kind?
A
Don't.
Mustang.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
a Detroit guy.
Don't know if you have pets, but cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs.
Okay. Broadway show or a concert?
Ooh, concert.
Concert.
Get up early or stay up late?
I'm on late night.
Depends
I'm
on
trying
the
to
day.
change. But I've always been a late night person, seems like.
Okay. How late is late?
2 in the morning, 3 in the morning,
That's
sometimes.
almost becoming next day
Almost,
early. huh?
yeah, next day early. You
I'm
know.
sorry, I missed yours, MJ.
It depends on the day. Probably morning.
Okay. This is the last one. Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Jordan. I can't pass that crown over yet.
You thinking?
Yeah, I am. Because, you know, I know everybody would think, oh, you're old school Jordan.
I was
But
thinking.
LeBron,
Okay.
he's
Is-
taking it to another level on the personal side. So,
Oh, see, I was on your
Mhm.
side at first.
yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, Jordan has some animosity to Detroit. There's anyway. So,
Okay. We'll take that. That's it,
all
gentlemen.
right. Well, thank
Michael
you for
J.
having
Johnson, Michael J. Johnson from MDJ Financial Services. I appreciate both of you, your time and everything that you shared with us this evening. It was my pleasure to have you.
Okay. Thanks
And
for
thank you,
having me.
everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry we broke it up a little bit. So if you're watching the second half or if you watch the first half, we'll see if we can piece it together. If not, just watch both of them. We enjoyed you and thank you so much for joining our Black History Month Spotlight. This was the last of our 3-part series. You can look on our Facebook page to see all of the others. And we also have another event coming up, and I want to throw this in right quick, and it's called Black Men in White Coats. It is a film that talks about why African-American men only make up 2% of doctors in America. And I did not know that originally. So it's a very powerful film. We ask for you to go on to novilibrary.org to register for the film. You can see it. It starts tomorrow and it runs through Thursday. You can log on at your leisure to watch the film. And then on Thursday, February 25th at 6:30 p.m., we will have 7 African-American young doctors who will come and talk about their experiences as an African-American doctor in the field. They will also provide motivation to those who are considering the medical field. So I encourage you to join in and complete our Black History Month celebration and acknowledgement. Thank you all for joining us and have a good evening. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.